Tyrese Maxey called out Joel Embiid. Part of it was him not being a leader. He was always late. He's always late. He's not setting the best example for some of the young guys, and it looks like some of the young guys are better examples. This is from Shams Charamia. In the meeting, Maxey challenged Embiid to be on time for team activities, calling out the former league MVP about being late for everything and how it impacts the locker room. From other players to the coaching staff, sources briefed on the meeting told ESPN. Now, you know.
Oh, we're getting called out by AO Podcast?
Yeah. Are we getting actually by many people in chat? They're saying, actually, it was Mr. 40-year-old Kyle Lowry that called the meeting.
However, that's good.
Cruz, what are we doing?
Where you're going?
Oh, well, then that's good. If Kyle Lowry was the one who spread the meeting, that's perfectly fine. The sentiments still stand. Now, with that being said, though, because this is a professional organization, you would expect Joel Embiid to take that in, put it on his chin, and really run with it, right? You would expect the professionals in the room like Paul George to take that on his chin and, run with it and say, hey, I'm going to own up to that. My bad, Unc. I'm just a chill guy, but I'll step up and do better. Joel Embiid has this to say about it. He says, people close to Joel Embiid thinks he wants to find the snitch in the Sixers locker room. When ESPN reported details on Tuesday morning from inside the 76ers team meeting, because there was a leak about what happened, following Monday night's blown lead in Miami, one league figure close to Philadelphia's All-Star Center told me Joel is going to be furious and that Embiid was going to try and find the Sixers' supposed snitch. Using his time wisely, chat. Now, Joel Embiid, we don't think that he's serious, right? But obviously, Paul George, a guy who was fed up with, the unseriousness of the Clippers took it serious, right?
Right.
Wrong.
Maybe Kawhi deal.
Wrong. This is Paul George's thumbnail. Players only meeting leak. What's next for the Sixers featuring Reggie Jackson?
Ah, man.
Do we know what he actually talked about on the podcast?
Yeah, no, I got clips. I just needed a second to just breathe. Okay. I just need a second to breathe. So we can start with those clips. I just wanted to be known because I don't like Paul George's podcast. Because his friends, Dallas B. Rutherford, right? Dallas B. Rutherford and Jackie Long throw Paul George the most softball questions in the world. But let's give him the benefit of the doubt. This is an opportunity for player empowerment, player media empowerment to do what it needs to do and have a serious conversation and address things. Let's hear him out.
And how do you guys deal with that, being leaked to the media and something that probably should just be in the team? I want to know how it got out. Like, walk a fan through how a team-only meeting gets to Shams and then it's everywhere. And now it's just right now it's piling on you guys. Let's not hide from the facts. It's getting pretty bad. So I want to know your guys' thoughts on that whole situation.
Well, that's a great question because I don't know how the hell Shams got that story or how that even leaked, especially it being like some of it being like kind of word for word or not necessarily word for word, but quoted. Mm-hmm. That was the crazy part about it. The whole meeting, that's normal in the NBA. Like teams go through that. I've been on multiple teams where we'll at some point have a meeting and a check-in if things aren't going right or if we know.
And how do you guys deal?
Hold on, there's one more clip that I'm going to play real quick where they talk about their thoughts and their sentiments on this. But so far, I mean, doing what Paul George do, skating around it. Hold on. This is the next clip.
We all do team meetings.
Yeah, everybody does team meetings.
Every year.
Type shit.
Share, is it just the players? Who's in that room? Is there coaches? Is there media? Is there trainers? Like, when a meeting like that takes place, who's actually in the room? Like, could you guys go back and go, we know everyone that was in that room? Or there's some people in there, obviously you might know them, but is there more people outside of the team, as in the players, sitting in that locker room?
No, I think we all know his name.
I'll say the people that was in that room is the people that's supposed to be in that room. and it's the people that go out and we're in the trenches with on a nightly basis. That's who was in that room.
Yeah, that didn't help. But hey man, never mind. Go ahead and keep introducing this.
No,
Man, what is the point of player podcast, man? What? What is this, bro? No. Because I am for player podcast. Obviously, it takes the ability for players to speak on their topics, give them a platform instead of relying on the Shams of the world, relying on the Stephen A's of the world to tell their story. But if you're just gonna go out here and just skate around everything, then what? Like, are you really voicing your opinion on things, or are you just like skating around it? I don't know, bro.
That's actually where I was gonna kind of go with it, but like honestly, rare out of me on the further extreme. I think this is a somewhat, in a way, hypocrisy of what we kind of asked player podcast to be. All the people that are calling him a clown or anything like that. See, I think this is a low key a damn if you do, damn if you don't, to a certain extent. And there's a reason why I do not necessarily side with Paul George here in terms of actually uploading it. But like in terms of, hey, there's been a leak in the meeting and let's talk about it on the microphone or whatever. Isn't that what we talked about last podcast about players doing? Or furthermore, isn't that what you guys were like, yo, player podcast would be very cool if they talk about the things that we should know? So I don't have a problem necessarily if Paul George wants to be this guy. Now you can be you as a Sixers fan can have a problem if he's your team. If he's on your team, I'm sorry, that's perfectly fine. Where I do think this goes wrong, where I think this is the reason a lot of people may hold the knife to my neck, but they might retract it now, is because last Biso said you can't do that and then like play the fence sitting side. If you're going to do it, all right, gang. We're not saying say everything on the goddamn what happened in the meeting. We're not saying for you to go on there and just snitch, but but goddamn, like you could leave something on the nose, I suppose, if that's the right saying. He just kind of just went there, said, yeah, who's in the meeting is who's in the meeting. All right. Like, what the fuck? Like, okay, I guess you are just trolling. So yeah, I think if Paul George not even necessarily just went up there and ratted, but if Paul George had given like a bit more personality to it, I would be sitting here today like hot take of the week. You niggas really don't fuck with player podcast because this is exactly what you would ask for, and he's just on the losing team. But reality is not. I didn't like the execution, so I'm gonna have to overall say that I weren't really it.
I don't even think it's a damn if you do, damn if you don't type of thing. My thing is just if you're gonna promote your podcast as this is where we're really gonna break down the tea. Kind of same thing with Angel Reese, and then you don't.
Yeah,
and bro, like you're just that's false advertising. But if you marketed your podcast as just we're chilling with Paul George type of thing, and there's no expectations of you gonna get the real tea here. You gonna get my real perspective on things, and that's a whole different story. So I don't think it's a damn if you don't type of thing. He's marketed this podcast as essentially like a primary news source for Paul George's life. If you're not gonna be that, then what?
And I'll say this too: like, if this is the way for you to control the media, like I know that's also another thing that player podcasts want to do is control the way the media tells these stories and spins these news, et cetera, et cetera. One, I think that you could give more insight that's actually substantial. It has some substance to it. But even if you didn't, and this is the way you wanted to go about doing it, you wanted to just really calm down the talks and just give the same old PR spin of, hey, this is normal, this is this, that, and the third. All this, like the thumbnail and the title is performative. And it being performative, to me, is exactly what we thought from a Joel Embiid, a Paul George, like this Sixers team as a whole. Their actions are performative. These are two guys who aren't serious about playing basketball, about pushing the game forward, about being the best versions of themselves, about really doing it. And it also is going to hurt because conversations have come out about Paul George, like something on the Jeff Teague podcast, how they talked about him and his performativeness in the locker room in Indiana. Oh, CJ, I want to take that shot. Da, 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 da. And I'm almost certain stuff is going to come out about Joel Embiid as well, which is already coming out through some of the young guys. It's just going to help paint this nasty brush over them. And ultimately, because this is the theme of the podcast, it is going to hurt them overall, and it's going to hurt the league overall. This is tired. This is tired. Are y'all tired? Y'all tired of this? I'm tired of this.
I'm tired if like so, and we have conversations a dime a dozen on here, and to the point where some people are mad at them when we talk about if the NBA is in a bad state or not, if the NBA is dying or not, things like that. But what doesn't help, when no matter what side of the coin you are, what side of the fence, whatever expression you want to use, what definitely doesn't help is when players are kind of like not just not giving us anything, you know, like if you're going to have player podcasts, cool, let's talk about the insider stuff, but then you don't really want to talk about the insider stuff or like even give your opinion on certain rumors. If Paul George went up there and just confirmed or denied stuff, even that would be kind of cool. But all he basically said was there was a meeting. The people in it were important. Type shit. All right, well, fuck it. But I guess I haven't, to be fair, I guess I haven't watched the full episode, but it doesn't seem like, from the various clips I've seen, it doesn't seem like it's much more than that.
Yo, B Souls, this season you've been getting into more different sports, right?
I definitely have, and Prize Picks, our favorite daily fantasy sports app, and the sponsor of this video, has been helping me get into these other sports as well. The great thing about Prize Picks is that it offers weekly promotions. So on Thursdays, I'm making NBA picks because that's primetime NBA basketball time. On Sunday, football is on, so I'm making picks then. The app is just really fun. It's easy to use, and we're gonna show you how to make lineups right now. So LeBron and the Lakers are about to play the Bucks. It is just a preseason game, so I'm gonna go less honest points for this game. And today, I feel like Zach Edey is gonna make a statement game. He's gonna get more than 9 points.
And since you've been getting into football, let me tell you about my MVP dual threat sleeper, Jaden Daniels. I'm taking more on his yards any and every time I get.
Let's go ahead and put $12 on this lineup right here. Click submit lineup, and boom, that is how you make a lineup on Prize Picks.
Go to prizepicks.com and use code LKIAB to receive a guaranteed $50 once you play $5 in lineups.
And shout out to Prize Picks again for sponsoring this video. That is once again code LKIB. And back to the video.
And I'll say this, and I got a leak from a news source. News source alert. News source alert.
I didn't know you was waiting. My bad.
Oh no, I wasn't waiting. So streets are saying it was a young player. These are from my sources. I can't reveal my sources. Streets are saying it was a young player, potentially Jared McCain, who leaked the contents as to what was going on in the meeting. And this is most likely because media members prey on young players because they don't know any better. And I think that is an angle to take. But also, the angle that I may take in that conversation, thank you to my sources, is that the new generation doesn't care about none of that other shit. They just want a ball. And Jared McCann, it seems like he only cares about 3 things in this world because he's come out and he has been, balling his ass off. He cares about doing his TikTok dances, painting his nails, and playing basketball. All this other being late, fake performative leaders, flopping on the court, being unavailable, not healthy, etc., going on podcasting, doing all this grandstanding. He's not with it, right? He's gonna leak it because maybe this is like he's frustrated, he's upset. He wants to just have normal conversations with normal people, play actual basketball, win games, etc., etc. And I feel like that's why Maxey stood up too. Maxey's like, yo, bro, I'm like, we could really compete. Like, I'm ahead of schedule. I know y'all didn't think this would be like this, but y'all got one. And from the organizational standpoint, they put the battery in my back. And y'all playing. We got to say something about this because this shit is weird. Otherwise, really get out of their way. And I feel like that's how the young generation like even acts anyway. If you're playing around, get out the way.
Yeah, it's unfortunate with the Sixers too because they have like a bunch of like old niggas, not even like people in their prime. Like a lot of their team is like genuinely just old as shit. So when it's kind of not that okay, father time's catching up, but more so, do you even give a fuck? That's crazy. That's a crazy situation to be in, especially when it's easy to look at the 24-year-old, 23-year-old, 22-year-old and just be like, man, you don't even know what you're talking about. So it's a very toxic situation to be in. I know I'm the Lakers fan, but man, I would not want to be a Philly fan right now.
Yeah, no, I think people have thrown Philly a lot of bail just because their best player is Joel Embiid. He's been injured a lot. Can't really fault them. It's fucking injuries. But if it's coming out that there's legitimately like leadership problems with him, hey man, hey, That is tough. I know that's a cop-out answer, but man, that's tough.
I think it also sucks when like you putting in the work for real, and then you go out there and you're performing in games, you're showing up, you're early to meetings, you're doing this, that, and the third, and you're getting to play, of course, because he's this person is hurt. But then when he does come back, everybody's saying, "Whew, thank God, this is our $1 million man. These are our $1 million men." Yeah, just go to the back seat. Go to the back seat. At some point, I will be like, "Why? Like, we ain't 2-12 because of me."
Treating them like Superman or some shit. It's kind of like, and I'm not too far into the series, but it's kind of like The Boys-ish a little bit when like, all right, bet, what's his name's here now, and it's like, okay, bet, Homelander's here, and then the whole time he's just a dick. It's like, yes, all right, well, welcome back. Woo, number 2.
And listen, I understand like loyalty is rare now in the NBA. But gang, it's been 10 years with Joel.
Oh no, I was gonna go there, gang. When you talked about the leadership shit, I was like, hey, in terms of at least the sport shit, hey, if we paying you the dollars, but you ain't got it mentally, I think at some point your franchise, I wouldn't want them as a Laker. Like I don't even want to go there. Like I'd rather have, dare I say, the injury prone guy, and maybe not even to the talents of Anthony Davis, because I think there's some people in chat that will look you in the eye and say Anthony Davis is better still, right? But like even if like a significantly worse player, but he's a bit more injury prone, but you can tell he wants to be there or wants to play basketball, I'm taking that 10 out of 10, man.
Let me ask y'all this: if you were a Sixers fan and you were having conversations to other Sixers fans, what would y'all be saying to them?
I'd have said, "Why?" To be honest, I'd have said we should have either blown it up years ago or we should have brought in a different personnel now, because now you're in the too late arc, in my opinion. So it's, again, I just would not want to be a Sixers fan, because I think trading Embiid right now, it's not optimal as it's going to sound if your favorite YouTuber talks about it. Reality is his stock, not saying that it's not high, but it's definitely gone down from what it would be a couple years ago.
I'm telling them Embiid sucks, man. No cap. No, because that's literally the conversation I've had. It's just crazy because it wasn't too long ago when Embiid was in best in the world conversations for real. Mm-hmm. And with the way other players, specifically AD, I ain't gonna lie, because for a minute, hey, the Embiid AD conversation was kind of dead. I ain't gonna lie.
Yeah, it was more so Embiid, 100%.
Yeah, but with how AD's been playing and how Embiid's been playing, hey, these rankings got to get reconfigured. No cap.
I would tell fans, and this is again on theme and on brand, for the podcast episode today. Stop patronizing, gang. Stop patronizing. I can't support the performative. I can't support all this, that, and the third. I would never in my life. There's not a singular dollar amount that I would have bet that said that they would be in this position today.
Oh yeah, no. If anybody assumed that they would be bad without Embiid, fair. If anyone thought that they wouldn't be like as good, that's just no shit. But 2-11, I get. Hey, send me your parlays. I don't even do that shit for real. But send me your odds, your parlays, 4, 5, 6 legs, prize pit, whatever. Send all of that shit. At that point, god damn.
We're talking about both of our $100 million. Paul George has played 8 games too. Paul George has played 8. Joel has played 4. Like,
at some point, it does fall on the ownership though, and the front office.
That fell on ownership.
In terms of just like, again, it's unfortunate that these injuries keep happening. They're freak injuries, but you got to know who you're signing and who you're building around. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can have, because I think the Sixers do have a lot of great surrounding pieces around Embiid and Paul George. But at the end of the day, like, you are building around injury-prone ass motherfuckers. A lot of your success relies on those two people. And these are the consequences. And I don't want to deride the Celtics right now, but I do think the reason why the Celtics have been so effective the last 4 or 5 years is while their duo isn't the most talented out there, hey, they play the games. 70 games a year all the way through the playoffs, they barely get injured. So you get what you know what I'm saying? Like you get what you signed for. There's a level of continuity that you can rely on night in and night out that Philly just doesn't have. let alone when you get into the playoffs, playing high-level teams that have been on point, building great habits throughout the whole year. And now you're banking on the last 20 games of the season to figure out exactly how to make Tyrese Maxey, Paul George, and Joel Embiid play at the same time. Like, it's not going to work.
And this isn't even necessarily me playing devil's advocate, and I know we're going to move on, but I can see a world where, truthfully, Embiid comes back, finally does get it going, or does get it going per se because he's played 3 games. But Embiid starts cooking up. Paul George isn't this random shitter for some reason because he hasn't been that good, if you guys are paying attention. And they actually start to win some games or anything like that. But then I would just ask that person whenever they're like, oh, yeah, see, y'all overreacted. Are you sure that they are still locked in all the way through come postseason time? You sure everybody truly wants it versus just natural ability? And then combined with health is what makes it so scary. It's like you have all of these things, and then you have the health and age concerns on top. And it's just like, damn, bro.
They're going to be a playing team, Sage, and we go here. Dangerous 8 seed, though. I wouldn't want to face them in the first.
That's what I'm saying. I can foresee that right now. I know some people hate when I do that. Some people hate when I'm doing this right now. But like dead ass, I get it. Embiid can and likely will, I even say, calm a lot of people down because he's Joel Embiid. I can see it. Maybe he's just not in shape right now or some shit, right? But truth be told, man, if I just don't want you guys to psych yourselves back out of this conversation as if this conversation shouldn't be existing right now.